So educators have the potential to be incredibly influential in the lives of their students. And this next award recognizes exemplary achievements in promoting diversity in both the teacher's school and community. Tonight's recipient of the Harmony Educator Award is David Walls of the Windsor Essex Catholic School Board. And here to present the award is Agapi Janese, Executive Director of CEE Center for Young Black Professionals. Agapi is a community leader and an advocate for the representation of people of color in leadership. Please welcome David and Agapi to the stage.
So I'm pleased to be here. I'm very humbled. I want to thank Harmony Movement for the work that they're doing. I want to just speak on behalf of the work that I've done, and even over the time being with Harmony, just understanding the need for Black educators and for our young people to be able to see themselves in people that are in places of power. So it's an honor today to present this. So David Walls is one of Catholic Central High School's best educators, in large part because of his passion for teaching, coaching, and student equity. These traits have become a hallmark for his educational creed, and they have defined him as a person. Catholic Central High School is an exceedingly diverse school. One of more than 70% of the students are English language learners. David has taught our students to value every teammate and to promote the ideas and shared respect, shared goals, and shared love for all citizens. He has embodied the Canadian spirit. So it is my pleasure to introduce David Walls.
Fancy. Thank you very much. I'm going to have to put my glasses on because, as most educators, we lose our sight really quickly. Except when someone's messing around in the back of the room, that is. All right. First, I want to thank the Harmony Movement for this award. As educators, we just do, I always say we just do stuff. There's people coaching, there's people doing dance, there's people doing the arts, there's people in other special groups. So we just do stuff so that our school runs. So to get an award for doing stuff is pretty cool. So thank you, Harmony. I'd also like to thank my administration at Catholic Central, my principal, Danielle Desjardins-Koloff, who's here with us today. It was her inspiration to start our ACE group, which I'll talk about in a second, and being the only Black educator at my school, yeah, woo! I was kind of selected. I don't know what the process was, but they needed a leader for the Black youth in our school. Like, hey, what are you doing this year? Well, okay. So we started, Danielle was the inspiration. Michael Niker is from South Africa. He's of Indian descent, our vice principal, and he was a very strong guide for us. I'll talk about each one, teach one. He brought that from his African culture that we started with about 8 or 9 kids. If you feed kids, they'll show up. So they let other kids know that there's pizza, come find out what's happening. So they did. And every time they came, he'd say, each one, teach one. So bring a friend with you. So it went from 8 or 9 to, we took a tour of the local college, St. Clair College, with 30 kids. I think we got to as high as 50. And it was just kind of an idea that grew. And it's, some of our kids are here, you'll hear from them later, that just being given an opportunity and opening their eyes to things, that, you know, going to college is okay. And here's why. Not just, the word college is, yeah, I'm going to college, what's that? Well, we brought them to the college and they got to see what what the engineering, what the automotive, what the medical field is doing. And they're, oh, I can do that. And when you see the students and they look like you, I really can do that. We did the same at the University of Windsor. We went to the African Diaspora conference at the University of Windsor, brought together schools from Windsor, from Detroit, from Toronto, and they got to see other kids who looked like them, who had dreams like them. And I'm hoping that those kind of things will be passed on to the next kid who walks in our grade 9s. I brought seniors, grades 11 and 12, with us today, and kind of that's like the seed for the juniors who are in grade 8, 9, 10, who are going to want to come up and be part of this organization. I want to thank my family, my wife Erin, my kids Braden, Avery, Callie, and Finley are sitting here. If they don't give me the time to do things or do stuff, it doesn't get done. So my wife takes care of the 4 kids and the 400 things that they do every day so that I can put in with other people's kids. And I think it's paying off. We get to see the seeds of what we're planting. And then I get to look down the road, and I'll talk about that shortly, about some of our graduates and what they're doing now. Our school, Catholic Central, is very diverse. Our Vice Principal, Mike Niker, a few years ago put up flags, their plaques of flags, with 40 different countries. And those are the countries that are represented in our school. And I don't mean just like, oh yeah, my family's from there, like I'm from there, or my parents were born there, I'm the first generation Canadian. So, and since then, the Syrian refugees, we're an ESL school. We have English as a second language, English language learners, and they come to our school. They have to, no other school offers it, so they come to us. And they get an experience, and they see these young people and what they're doing, and they want to be part of it. So even though the language isn't there, that love and that inspiration is there within all of them. I want to thank the Harmony facilitators, Corinne and Esquire, who came down, and they really did change some lives. They took kids, I'm a body language person, so they took a bunch of kids like this, to like this, to like this, to like this, to like this. And over 2 days, they were inspired. And then what that led to was we got to bring our ACE group, which stands for African Canadian Cultural Experience, we got to bring them to our school board. And these young people got to speak to our board administrators. We had, I think, 5 superintendents, 5 principals, a couple of vice principals, some consultants, all sitting in front of them listening to find out what are their issues. What do young people, young black kids think about? And they had this room captivated. And they all spoke from the heart. And I think for most of them, for me, first time they got to express themselves and have a voice, and have that voice heard by people who can make change in your board. Not just in my classroom where they can talk about it, or in our student voice room at school, but sitting in front of the administrators who can do something about it. So we'd like to continue that. And again, I thank our facilitators, and I like to thank the Harmony group. Roz Espin was also part of that. She came to, hey Roz, wherever you are. She got to see firsthand what Corinne and Esquire were doing, and then that feeling just kind of grew. So thank you to them. Now, my journey, I was told my speech was pretty dry with all the other stuff, so tell them how you got here. So my journey is, I'm a descendant of the Underground Railroad. My great-great-great-grandfather was a slave in North Carolina, via the Underground Railroad, came to Essex County, just across the river from Detroit. It was kind of the end of the line, the furthest south point in Canada. And so I'm about 5 or 6 generations removed from my African experience. Some of these young people that are with us today were born there. So we have a little different perspective, but we have the same goals and dreams. In my neighborhood, it was very Windsor, Big 3, very automotive, very factory. My dad was a truck driver for 41 years, hauling the cars and vans built in Windsor to and from Detroit. Very labor. And when I looked out my front door, that's what I saw, laborers. And I wanted, when I was in, I think, fourth, fifth year university, I made a list of influential people in my life. And as I wrote this list, I took my family out of the mix because they hopefully shaped me in the right direction. But it was teachers and coaches and managers, and mainly teachers and coaches. And I was like, that's what I want to be. I want to be on that list. When some of these kids write a list like that, I want to be on that list of a professional. I went to school. I worked for the things I have. And then when I got it, I gave back. That's what I want these kids to do. I want them to be the ones standing here in a few years as the educators, as the educational assistants. My wife is a campus minister, so she's daily counseling with kids and helping them when they're struggling, leading them somewhere. And she had a mentor in her school who sent her there. So that's what I wanted to be, and I'm hoping that these kids will do the same. A few key people that I have on my list of kids I taught. Tyrone Crawford plays for the Dallas Cowboys. Daryl Townsend played 6 seasons with the Montreal Alouettes. Maya Marie Langlois is the current point guard for Team Canada and led them to the Pan Am Games Championship in 2012. I have 3 recent grads, Dr. Ahmed Cherry, Dr. Patrick Valk, Dr. Chris Koala. Anyone who watches Sportsnet, Brendan Dunlop is a Catholic Central graduate. He works at the anchor desk for Sportsnet. And Alawad Anai, who grew up in the same neighborhood with my kids, who's a fashion model. She's been in music videos. She's been on magazine covers. I use them. I Google them. I put it right in my notes, Google them. So I sit in class, I Google them up on the big screen. I say, look, they grew up in your neighborhood. They walk the same hallways. Look at them and look at you. You can be there. So that's what I do. I want to be on that list, and I want the kids to be someone I Google, because when I Google them for good reasons. There's other people you don't want to Google. But the ones I just spoke about today are kids who grew up in their neighborhood, same kind of maybe struggling economically, but here they are, and they are doctors, they are professional athletes, they're professional people, and that's what I want for these young people. So to close, Harmony Movement, thank you. This is an incredible opportunity. This is an incredible night. Please keep doing what you're doing, because it recognizes, I've been sitting here, as I heard you were in awe. I've been in awe and think, am I doing enough? Because there's so much happening with the people in this room. I want to be like you. So you keep doing what you're doing, and hopefully the rest of us will keep doing what we're doing. Thank you very much.